Hey guys, welcome back to KY Coins and Collectibles. And on today's episode, I want to talk about something that is kind of, it's a big topic right now. A lot of people are talking about it. And I kind of just want to do my own little experiment with it and show you my results. And I want to take it just a step farther than what people have been talking about. And the topic is Roosevelt dimes versus Mercury dimes. I know y'all have been seeing the videos, and I've talked about it in a couple videos before, but I wanted to do a little experiment. And as you can see, I've got stuff scattered all over the table here. I've got my scales. I've got a couple different types of constitutional silver, and what everybody is really talking about is weight versus numismatic design. So basically, the biggest debate is Mercury dimes versus Rosies, and what it is everybody knows the Mercury dimes, they wear down. The Rosies that are 90% silver, they have more wear on, like they have less wear on them, so therefore there is more silver content. It weighs more, there's more silver. So a lot of people are saying or asking which should they stack or what do they prefer and why. And I just wanted to do this little experiment to show you why some people think one way and some people think the other way. And at the end I'll tell you kind of how I feel about it and why I feel about it. And I've got 3 different types of constitutional silver, and we're going to weigh them all here together. I've wrote down what silver is right now. And I'm going to call this episode the Great Weight Debate. So this is going to be a debate on the weight of constitutional silver versus the design. And to start off, we'll do the Rosies and Mercs because that's kind of the main thing everybody's talking about. Do you stack Rosies or do you stack Mercury dimes? And I know everybody out there, they have a different reason for going one way versus another. And at the end of the day, I think it just depends on why you're stacking and how bad you think times will get. I was going through some of my stuff. People had been asking me and commenting in some earlier videos about this, and I had seen a few other channels talking about it, and I know it's kind of on everybody's mind, so I figured it'd be a good time to do this episode. I've been wanting to do this episode for a while, so I'm going to enjoy this. I love stacking all constitutional silver. I know some people like halves, silver dollars, dimes, quarters. I stack it all, so I don't care really what the outcome is. If one weighs more than the other, at the end of the day, for right now, I like stacking it all. And if I can get Rosies or dimes, I'm getting them both. So it don't really matter at this time to me. This is going to be an awesome topic. And I've got it wrote down here, the Great Weight Debate. So let's start with Rosies versus Mercs. And that's what I've been seeing everybody talk about. It's just Mercury's versus Roosevelt dimes. And which one should they stack? So I figured take this experiment a little farther and do Kennedy halves versus Walkers. And I've got a brand new row of Kennedy 64 halves here. And then I've got a bunch of wore out Walkers in this bag here. And then I was like, well, that's pretty cool. How about we go one step farther? Let's do piece dollars versus Morgans. And I've got a tube of piece dollars and a tube of Morgans. And I brought 2 Morgans because I didn't know if those had the same amount, but we'll do, I think I've got 25 and 25. I'll make sure it's the same amount, but I wanted to do piece dollars and Morgans because most piece dollars that you find have a good amount of wear, a good amount of details left on it. Morgans, they're kind of 50-50. It'll have a little bit of wear, or they'll be slick. So I was like, that's a good candidate for this debate too. And the more weight and the heavier things get, and if you're losing a lot percentage of weight, the more weight that you have, this you'll see as we get heavier with the weights, the wider the gap will be. As what I mean, that's just common sense to me. If you're losing 0.1 per coin on the rosies, and you add 50 more to it, there's going to be a wider gap. The heavier you get on the coin, the more you're going to be losing weight, and we all know that. So I thought that'd be interesting. It just wouldn't be boring, Rosie and Mercs. I wanted to take it a step farther. So we'll start with our rosies, and I'll set everything out of the way. I went through the rosies and I can already tell the Mercs. This is 2 rows. They've got 50 coins in them, and there's already a big difference. Like, I counted and double checked to make sure these both had 50 in it. One tube you can shake, and the other one's pretty tight. And they're in there, and that one's pretty cool. You can tell it was like a ender on a row. It's got that toning on it. So these are brand new rosies. I got these out of a big collection I had bought a couple months ago, and these I've just been stacking as I get them to make a tube. As I was counting them out to get 50, I come across this barber dime that had a hoe in it. That was pretty cool. So I'm going to set that over to the side. And I wrote down, I just got online and checked out Silver Spot. It was $28.53. That's what it was. And today is August 15th, 2024. So 8/15/2024. That's where silver's at today. It just gives us a baseline. There's 50 in each, and I've got 2 scales here. I've got my smaller scale, and then I've got my bigger scale, and it's a little dirty, but we'll make sure and zero it out. I'm going to start with this one. Let's start with the second one. It's nice and white. Yeah, check out this toned one. Oh yeah, that's nice. So put that back in there for the time being. And this is a 1963. You can tell by the side of it how nice and white it is. It's silver. So a 63. I'm going to put this one on there. This one's brand new, never circulated. Let's see how much it weighs. It's going to be hard for me to see. Make sure it's zeroed out. Okay, I don't know if y'all can see it, but I will write it down. .48. We'll say 2.487. Okay. So there's that one. I've got to put this toner back on top. That will kill me if I don't. Okay. So it's zeroed out. And I'm just going to look at a couple different ones here. That one's really slick, but I'm not going to go that hardcore. We'll find one that's got some circulation. Probably this one. Well, this one's got a little bit of circulation. It still has decent details on it. And I'll do this one that's pretty wore too, and it's like beside it as a comparison. Okay, so let me tar it out, zero it out. So that is 2.463. So a little difference, not too bad on that one. So we'll take that one off. And that one had pretty good details. I'll show you again. Not bad. It still has some bands on the back. It's not bad. It's decent details. Now this one, it's actually somebody's carved an A into it. That one's a little more slick. That one's pretty slick. So zero it out. And okay, 2.251. Okay, starting to see a difference now. The Rosie, the nice one, new, 2.487. The Merc that has a little wear on it was 2.463. So that's off a little bit. The slick one was a big difference. It's over 0.2. So that's starting to add up. So what we'll do now is we've got each. So we've done a couple to show what they each are. Put those back up. And you can just tell. Now we're going to weigh all of them. So bring over the bigger scale because that other little scale will be maxed out. Let's do the Rosies. I'm trying to do this fast. I just want to do this on camera. Rosies. And I'm going to just try to be smooth and not make a mess. I'm going to try to stack them up like Jenga. And that says 124 grams. Okay. And that's the brand new ones, and I'll show you halfway down. I mean, they're brand new. And I should have, y'all know what I done wrong already. I just wanted to show y'all. See if I can go back over top of it. There we go. And we'll put the toner back on top. It's always good to look at the first time. Okay, Rosies. 124 grams for the Rosies. Now the Mercs. Make sure it's zeroed out. It is. $121 grams. So that's not too bad. That's not as bad as I thought it would be. But I will show you one thing I did notice about this roll of Mercury dimes. I did notice most of them, there was a couple that were dirty, but most of them had decent details on them. So that's a big factor though, is the details in the wear. So I'll show you some of them. So there's kind of an assortment of what they are and the details that's on them. So let's weigh this one again just to make sure. And there was one in here that I may take out because I'm not sure. I've seen this one in there and it's been polished. I was kind of hoping it hadn't been plated. So what I'll do is I'll take that one out. Let's see how much that one weighs. Yeah, that one's 3 grams. So that one's a little heavier. Let's get another one here. 2 grams. So it may have been, it looks kind of plated. So what I'll do, I'll exchange that one. I've got a bag over here of some Mercury dimes, and I'll just grab one. There we go. I'm gonna grab that one and replace that polished one. It looks like it's been, I'll just throw that back in that bag. It might have been plated, so I'm hoping that doesn't. So I added that one to this one. See if we can get a little better number, or if it's anything off. Nope, it's still the same. So there we go. It's 121 grams. So that's not as bad as I thought it would be on those, but again, it just depends on the wear and tear on your coins. And I think for this experiment I had got a little better rows, like a little better one, a little better assortment of Mercuries, but there's some that have some wear in there. But I mean, for the most part they have some wear on them, but they still have decent details. But I mean, this is brand new, like it's never, no circulation at all. So that number's not too far off. But I mean, when you're talking 3 grams, and it may not seem like that much, but I'll tell you what the difference is real fast on my handy dandy calculator. 1 second. I'll figure out what 3 grams of silver is. So 3 grams right now, let's see. So number of grams, we'll say 3. I believe it comes out to about 90 cents a gram. So we'll say 90 cents times 3. You're talking about $2.50. So $2.70, between $2.50 and $2.70. So my calculator said $2.70. So that would be on a whole roll of these. So that's the difference between a roll of my Rosies and my Mercs, is a difference of about $2.70. Okay, so $2.70. Don't seem like much, but what if you've got 10 rolls of these? So $2.70 times, we'll say 10, $27. And you can exponent that. You can take it out as far as you want. I mean, if you had $2.70 and you had 100 rolls of these, you're talking $270. So that's 10 rows That's 100 rows. That would be the difference. So basically on a tube, you're talking $2.70. On 10 rows, you're talking $70. On 100 rows, you're talking $270. Now, that's a lot. I mean, once you get more and more up there on the scale, this gap is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's kind of my whole point on why I like Rosies, but I like Mercs. And Mercs have a numismatic value to it as well. So it's hard to factor that in. But if you're just talking stacking, because I know people that just stack. And why do you stack? Because you want to stack the weight. How many you want to have 100 ounces, or you want to have 10 ounces saved up, or 1,000 ounces. Okay, why are you counting it by ounces if you don't care about how much an ounce brings? So that's my thing, is like, I see a lot of people that are stackers, and they kind of choose the Mercuries. And I'm like, well, you're a stacker. You're wanting to build up the weight. If you're wanting to go with weight, you need to go with the newer, because if you've got 10 of these, and I mean 10 of them will add up a lot more than 10 of those will. So I'm saying, like, whenever you've got tubes and tubes and rows of these, because I've put a few rows together. Like, these are all Rosies. I mean, you're talking an extra $15-16 on a couple extra tubes. Well, but I don't know. I think it's just everybody's got their own personal preference. I just wanted to show you some numbers. I like numbers. They really, I mean, you can't lie about numbers. That's how much they weigh, and that's how much you can make per gram. So the numbers don't lie. That's what it is if you add up the weight. A roll of these versus a roll of these, $2.70. Okay. Now, if it come down to barter and trade, well, people, I had a comment, a gentleman said, well, a dime's a dime. Well, that's true. It is. But what if it's really bad and people used to have scales. They were weighing their silver back in the 1500s, for a long time. They were weighing their metals. They didn't want to get cheated. They weighed it to the ounce. They weighed it to the gram. And that's, if I'm thinking times are going to be tough, I mean, it may be tough enough to where they prefer to have more silver. And I say more silver because the Mercs have more wear on them, so it will wear it down a little bit. And it depends. Like, you may be buying a bag of Rosies that have a lot of wear. You may be getting a lot of this number, and instead of this number. Now, if I had this number, and I'll do an example here. This number was based on the average, pretty much, like this whole Mercs, like that's how much these weighed. What if I had a whole tube of ones that weighed around this much? This difference would be a lot bigger. And what I mean, so let me see. I've already got this turned off. Let me see the best way to do that. And I believe I had this. Okay. So I'm going to take this number and times it by 50. That's how many's in there. So 2.251 times 50. 112.55. Now let me turn all my stuff off here. Okay. 112.55. Now this number will be a lot different. So 112.55. See the difference. 124 grams. The difference of that one. Subtract 122.55. 11.45 is the difference. So difference between this one Rosie and that one that weighed that. And that's if all of these weighed 2.251. And that's just giving us a lot. Pretend this whole tube is a lot more wore down. But this just for an example, a little more dramatic example. But a lot of times I see a lot of Mercuries that are really wore down. So we got 11.45. So 11.45 times 0.9, which is how much a gram weighed. That was the difference, the 11.45 grams. So 11.45 times 0.9, I think it's like 90 cents a gram. $10.30. So now this number right here went from $2 to $10.30. Okay, now you want to see something that'll blow your mind. If they're wore down versus a brand new one, you lost $10 on the row. And that's per row. Okay guys, here's the crazy part. Times that by 10 rows. $103.05. $103.05 per 10 row. Now, you know what we're going to do next. We're going to times it by 100. If you got 100 rows, $1,030. Now I know this is just for fun, but I'm showing you how you can lose out on so much money if you're talking just a few grams, but a few grams added up over say 1,000 coins, it can be a big difference. 100 rows of silver, you could lose $1,000. Okay, that's a big difference for me. But that is if they're really wore down. But you got to think, like, not all yours are going to be as good a shape as mine, and not all mine are going to be as good shape as yours, or they're not going to be as wore as mine. They're going to be somewhere in between. So these numbers here, the difference at $10 and $2, the difference per row, your row may be somewhere in between there, because the wear on these are going to be different for everybody. So you've got to take that with a grain of salt. But this is just for making a point. I think it adds up. I want to have 100 rows of these each. I like to have, I buy what I can, but it does add up. It can, $1,000, that's a no-brainer, guys. But I still love my Mercury dimes. I'm going to stack everything. So that's the Mercury dimes and the Rosies. Let's do the Kennedys, and we'll do the piece dollars real fast. I won't go into it as much as this. As you get heavier, as you get a bigger denomination coin, you should be able to see it real fast how it can change. These are tiny. and it's harder to see a fractional change versus when you have something bigger like the piece and Morgan dollars. We're going to see a big difference in those. And we'll get these out. These are brand new Kennedys, and we'll step on down to the Kennedys and Walkers. We'll see how many we got here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8. Let me make sure those here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8. And I'm actually missing one. Oh, there it is. Stuck in the bottom. I was like, man, that tube's missing one. So there's 20 here. There's $10 worth. I'm going to go ahead and take it out. Let's see what we got here. Got some Walkers. Now the Walker, I think this will be a big difference too, because all the Walkers are always. Let's get enough here. I know y'all like looking at coins and hearing it anyway, so there's a Benji. Benjis are a lot more closer. Benjis have they don't really have a lot of wear on them. They're circulated, but they don't have a lot of wear. So these are all Walkers. I mean, look at that. That's a 1928. That's an older one too. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 20. Okay. And I can tell just by stacking them beside it. There's a whole coin difference. See, it's weird stacking them beside each other. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. See, that's right. But when you put them side by side, look what I can do. With the top coin, I can just roll it over, and the bottom one will almost go over top too. So it is almost a whole coin difference. I mean, it is a whole coin difference because I can move that one over on top of it. So we'll move these out of the way. That's just a fun topic. I'm glad you're all hanging around with me. I appreciate everybody for sticking with me, and thank you all for the comments and the like and the shares. Subscribers have gone up. I just love talking about this stuff, and it's just for fun. I mean, you can collect whatever you want as long as you collect or stack. That's all I care about. So Kennedys and Walkers. We'll start with Mr. Kennedy. He deserves that. And this one just does like whole numbers, so that's going to make it a little tougher. I don't know if my other scale will go up that. So what we'll do, it'll let me do ounces, so I may do ounces for this. Well, this scale ain't the best. Let me see. This one might. It might. It goes up to, I think it goes up to 20 grams. It just won't do the Morgans. So we'll do the little one here. Because it does grams and it does more decimals. Okay, it's zeroed out. Kennedy, 12.495. And the Walker, this one's got a little detail on it. No really dirt. There's some PVC on those. Okay, that one's 12.206. So again, you're off about 0.2, a little over. Okay. So now we'll just weigh them, and let's zero that out. That's going to be grams, 2.32. Make sure it's zeroed. You can see the condition of these. Your typical Walker. Some have more wear than others. So here we go at 0. $228 grams. 227. Okay. We'll make this one simple and just do the math on that. We've got the difference here. I'll tell you what the difference is in grams. We've established about a gram is 90 cents. We've got 232 subtract 227. Difference is 5 grams. 5 grams is the difference between the Walkers and the Kennedys. So 5 grams, or 5 times 0.9, $4.50 is the difference on the weight between those. So, and if you times that, we'll say by 10, you're at $45. And that's at 10 rows. At 100 rows, that's $450. So $450 on 10 rows of those. So it adds up, and there's a bigger difference. As you can see, we went from $2.7 to $4.5, and I predict the Morgans may be around $67. They depend on their condition too. A lot of, well, I take that back. A lot of Morgans and piece dollars especially, they didn't really get spent a lot. The Morgans, some of them did. A lot of people collected them. But your Walkers and your Mercury dimes, they got spent hardcore. So it may not be the case for those, but I expect it to be about the same as the Kennedys. I know this is fun. I get to play with coins. Let me put these up before I spill them and make a mess. Hope you all having a good weekend. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Put all this up. Put this back in my bag. A lot of people said they liked my bag last time. So they come out of an old coin collection. I think it's the old dice bag. Now let's look at the goodies. The good stuff. Now that's heavy. Walker or piece dollars. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 20, and there was 25 in there. So let's see if I've got 5 left over. Yep. So got 26, 25, a couple better years in this one, some 22s. So yeah, I'm gonna put these extra 5 over to the side. So here's the condition. These are actually not bad condition. These are pretty good. They've got a little bit of luster left on them. Some have been cleaned. That one's got some wear on it. That's probably the most wore. That one's pretty slick, but you can see the condition of them. One's got a little luster, but that's them. Set those right there. Now these are some of my older Morgans. I wrote 78 through 84. So when I was going through these, I piled them up in the year, and I tried to keep them together. So this is going to be from the first year to like 1884. So these are going to have some good wear on them. See, there's 1880 or 1878. I don't know how many's in there. And we'll do the same thing. Let's actually go with the older ones. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 20. And there was actually, see, and in that tube there was 6 left over. So that shows you right there the other tube had less in it because there was more. They had more details on those coins. These had more wear on them, so I could fit an extra coin in that tube. So that shows me a lot right there. Let me double, and I'll show you some of these. These have some good wear on them. 79s. So try to keep them in order. That one's got a big gouge out of it. It's going to make a little difference. That one's slick, cleaned. This is some of the older Morgans I've got. Let me make sure they're all there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, they're all there. Let's do. And I'm going to put these side by side. The Morgans and piece dollars. Now it's kind of like the halves. You look what you can do. This one whole coin is the difference. And these coins weigh 26.73, I believe. So you can almost already tell there's a whole coin difference, and that's the weight of a whole coin. So you know there's probably 26.73 grams difference between this pile and that pile, and that's crazy. So let's do the piece dollar first. I've got to do this one on this scale, and it don't go to a decimal, so I don't. Let's do ounces. This way we can see the difference, and we'll do that one's 0.95. I'll get this back up here. 0.95 ounce. And then let's do the grams also. 27, which is what it should weigh. What's going to happen is I'm going to pick a fake one up here, and it's going to be 20 grams. I'm going to be like, oh no. 26, which I figured it would be. It's got some, I mean, that one's slick. So that's still in the ballpark. It's good. Let's do the ounce. 90. 90 ounces. I'm just doing that so I can get a decimal, but you can tell there's a gram off. There's probably a little over a gram off on each of those. We can do this though. We're going to do the whole row now. So this is the piece dollars. $5.33 grams. And I can't get the decimal on that, but it's okay. I think we'll see our point right here. Yeah, 520. So the battle continues. So I know this is all jumbled together, but it's fun. I hope y'all sticking around for this. So the difference here, this is grams. I know y'all know that. You've been listening to me talk. So I'll tell you the difference. 533 grams, subtract 520. 13 grams is the difference. Which I could tell that if I'd just look, but I didn't. So 13 grams times, we'll say 0.9 again, times 0.9. If I can use my calculator, times 0.9, $11.70. Okay. And that's on one row. So on a roll of these, you're talking about $11.70. So you know what we'll do is when you times that by 10 rows, $170. And when you times it by 100, which 100 rows of silver dollars is a lot, but you're talking $1,170. So there's that. I don't know. There it is, guys. I just wanted to do that. I thought it would be fun. Stack how you want. I stack it all. I think it really just depends on why you're stacking, the reasoning for it. Now, if I can get these Morgans back in the way they came out, which I know they won't. But I mean, for every 20 Morgans to my 20 piece dollars, I would lose almost a whole coin, almost. I'll put these back up. I just love playing with coins. So this was a lot of fun. Got those put up, and we'll kind of reflect here. So that was fun. We've got Rosie's versus Mercs. We got Kennedy versus Walkers, and Peace Dollar versus Morgans. And this little barber just hanging out watching us. And this number would even be worse with barbers. I probably have a row of barbers, but they're more put up. I mean, it would be, you can already see how different that is, but look how wore these barbers are. Big difference. So that number would be even bigger if you compared it to something older like barbers, but I think the older coins do have a numismatic value to it, especially certain dates. They all have the same amount of silver, though. They're all 90% silver, 10% copper, but the weight's different. So the weight's going to affect the silver price if they're weighing them out. Now, if it comes down to it and people aren't weighing it out, now, I know if I had this and I was trying to pay with it, and it looks slick and it's got a hole in it. Now, I'm sure everybody would agree with me that they may discount this. This would definitely be a discount. It's not going to get $2 worth or whatever the difference is. They're going to be like, okay, that's $1 versus $2. So we can all agree on that. But I think the higher volume you deal with, the bigger the price point changes. So it depends. But I think a lot of people aren't going to be dealing in that such high volume of weight. I think it's going to be people have a bag, a money bag like this, and it's going to have these in it. This is my dimes right here. That's going to be pretty much the extent of people's dimes and halves and dollars, peace dollars, and Morgans. So you're not going to be talking a lot. You may be talking 10 rows or 20 or 30, but you're not probably going to be talking these 100 rows. So you may not be talking that big of a difference. And if you're only talking a couple rows, you're talking a few dollars. So it may not be that big of a point. But if silver goes up, if the price of silver goes up a lot, these numbers will go up a lot. Right now, I said it, silver as of today is $28.53. If that price goes up to $50, these prices go up, and you're talking a big difference. So you have to keep that in mind too. I think if times got really bad and, well, I mean, you're talking stuff hits the fan, do you think silver price will go up? I think it will. I mean, every time during war or something going on, precious metals go up. So that's a factor too. This is all irrelevant. This is just relevant right now at this time. These numbers, and man, that is a mess wrote on that. But I hope you following along and you made it out as we went. A lot of numbers on there, but these are all just relevant as of right now, today, at this time. If something happens and it hits the fan, we're not going to be probably talking $28. I mean, these may have a lot more value than what you're thinking, and people will be counting them. They'll be weighing them out. Big difference. And gold is the same way. I think if it got bad enough, you'll see people with scales and weighing it out, because if it got bad enough, I think it would. But if it wasn't that bad, they may not. But if the price of silver goes up, I think they would be more likely to, because your $2.70 may be $20.70 or $100, depending on what silver goes to. People predict $50, they predict $1,000 or whatever it is. That makes this whole thing change. So you never know. So what I'm saying, I stack both. If I can get a good deal on it, I get a good deal on it. If the time comes and I'm trying to barter and trade, and I've got a Mercury dime in one hand and a rosy in the other, and I'm trying to pay a guy for a loaf of bread or some water, what is he going to take? I don't know. But you know what? I'm going to have both so he can take whichever one he wants. And another thing, I like to stack it all, because I'd seen a video people talking about, do you want to stack smaller denominations versus big denominations, your dollars? And I've got these three out here. Okay, it's going to suck if you go to try to pay for something, for a piece of bread. And this is kind of worst case scenario. Everything, it's hit the fan, everything's all bad, and you've only been stacking piece dollars, and you're trying to buy a loaf of bread, and you've got this only. Do you cut it up into eighths? I mean, do you fraction it out? Do you cut it? Which I think people could do that too. They may start cutting these up into halves, into quarters, into eighths. Or if you had Old Faithful here and you was just needing to buy a piece of bread, you could use it. Or if you're trying to buy a 5-gallon water, you could use that. Or ammo, a box of ammo, this. It's good to have all of them. And I don't even have quarters in here. I didn't even do the quarters. Totally forgot about those. Which they would be on the same page as your halves. So that's why I stack it all. I just, as you can tell, I just like stacking everything. I will collect and I stack. I like having every denomination. That way I can just grab and go. And it's nice to have a few pieces of gold if you can afford it. Trade in a couple tubes of Morgans or Walkers, or a couple tubes of maybe Eagles, and get you some gold. I like to have smaller gold pieces, like $5 gold pieces, $10 gold piece, $2.50, in that range. That way you've got a little bit of everything diversified. So that's really it, guys. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. This has been so much fun. Thank you all for sticking around and enjoying listening to me talk. You might not have enjoyed it, but maybe you learned something. So this just blows my mind. I mean, that right there. And that's a big difference. And these are the same way too. The Morgans and the Peace Dollars. I'll put that one back up before I forget it. Okay, guys, I appreciate y'all. Whenever I hit 2,000 subscribers, I want to do another free giveaway. I like giving stuff back. Y'all have been so great. I believe I'm around 1,200 subs right now. Once I hit 2,000, I'll find something nice that everybody likes, and we'll give it away somehow. But I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a great week. The weekend's coming up. Go out, buy some silver, constitutional silver, whatever you want to buy. Just happy collecting. Have fun. Stay safe. And I'll see y'all next time. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned for the next video. See y'all.